Hi guys, I am going to talk today regarding uh, reducing diabetes by following some very simple lifestyle. Uh, Actually, for the last more than a decade, about from 20 years, 1998, I had my first symptoms of diabetes. I went to the doctor and I was told that I was having blood sugar beyond a certain limit, and I was classified as a diabetes. Now, over the 20 years, uh, maybe due to my lifestyle, unable to treat my body properly as it normally happens, too busy in your work, not sufficient, no sufficient exercise, and bad lifestyle. Uh, what it really led was progressively over a period of time, my intake of insulin would rise and rise. And somewhere around January of 2018, when I was in the US to see my daughter's graduation ceremony in Texas A&M, and later on as we moved around the USA, visiting New Jersey and Florida where my sister stays, uh, obviously I could not ensure that the kind of food that I would take, I would run out of not doing exercise. And towards the time that I was just thinking of returning back to India, that was around 25th of January 2018, my sugar levels had gone to very high levels, 313, 325, etc. I was really worried because in the last 5 years, what I was noticing was the amount of insulin that I would take. Uh, it really did not bring my blood sugar under control. Increasing it did not mean that my sugar levels were coming under control. And that was the frightening part of it. Did not know what to do. And I was just thinking to myself, when I come back to India and I would go to my diabetologist, all they would do is increase my insulin dosage. Now 50 units per day, spread into 3 times, and then the metformin tablet with additional chemicals, uh, various brand names, which I would take 2 a day. And really, there was no end to this medication, and it was not bringing down my blood sugar. So that was my situation. I am a great fan of the YouTube. I can spend hours listening to various subjects, even when some subjects are terribly new. I gain a lot of knowledge, and I sometimes marvel at the speakers who know so much about their subjects. So, as I was sort of spending my time in leisure listening to some of these YouTube videos, what I would normally be doing is see the technology videos, what is happening, what are the new gadgets. And I had no interest in health. I used to think that it was very boring, and especially when they talk about exercise and diet and things like that. But then I don't know why that I happened to see some two fantastic videos. I saw one, and then there's a list of videos down below the YouTube. So I managed to see the second one, and then the third one. And I want to tell you that these videos changed my life. I realized for the first time in my life that this so called diabetes, which was totally irreversible, and all I had to do was to live your entire life with high sugar, or maybe by medication trying to bring it down a little, ensure that your organs are safe. I suddenly realized that something could be done. And then there was this these people in the YouTube video. One was Dr. Eric Berg, I think, and the other one was Dr. Jason Fung. And there I realized that I could do something that would definitely help me in my quest to bring down my sugar levels. And it made a lot of sense. Absolutely, it made so much of sense that today, when I have to tell somebody, I always tell them, first look at these three videos. Don't look below, and on the same subject you may see so many other videos. But please have the patience to see these videos in the order that I give you, and feel convinced of the fact that the exercise that you are going to undertake is perfectly possible by you. You can do it. And to cut the very long story short, what I embarked was this intermittent fasting, uh, which was basically, I'm told now there are three kinds of intermittent fasting. One which is very easy to do. There was a second one in which your which is called the uh, middle kind of fasting, and the third one was which was advanced kind. But again, cutting it down into very simple terms, to me intermittent fasting meant that if I follow a eating window of 8 hours, and if I could fast for 16 hours for a 24-hour day, uh, a large portion of the day would be spent in fasting, and my body is going to benefit. Very, very simple logic. Because when you don't eat, there is no question of your insulin being used to cut down on sugar and things like that. So it made a lot of sense to me. I knew that if I could do this fasting, at least during those times, my sugar levels are not going to go up. So this was it, intermittent fasting of 8 hours eating window and 16 hours of fasting. So what I would do is basically start my breakfast at 9 a.m. in the morning, and then at 5 p.m. in the evening I would stop all eating. And I came to know that I was very easily able to do it. During the period of fasting, sometimes you do feel a little hungry towards late in the night, around 9 o'clock, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. And I was advised that you could have tea or coffee as long as it is not loaded with sugar, doesn't have much milk. Or else, what I suggest is have a glass of hot water with you in a flask. Drink it like tea or coffee. And I tell you, it really tastes well. Hot water is something that really goes down well with your digestive system. So I was able to do it. Absolutely, there was no problem. And it was not like, it was not 8 hours plus 16 hours window of fasting. I was able to put 2 more hours into fasting, which means I would finish eating by around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That is 9 o'clock breakfast, and by 3 p.m. I would be, all my food would be over. And I was able to manage without food until the next day morning at 9. So that was it. That was great. And then as I went through these videos, I came to know that the best diet a man could have, man or woman could have, is your plant-based diet, where you don't take in carbohydrates. Plants does amazing healing in your body because they are fresh, and also you take in all the raw vitamins and minerals and every kind without, when you boil, when you cook these food items, much of the nutrition is lost, especially our Indian cooking. So I had to make sure that by taking a plant-based salad, it would do wonders to my body. So a plate full of not vegetable salad, plant-based, leaf-based salad I would take. It was difficult to eat, but uh, you invent many ways in which to eat it, because once you try it, then over a period of time you know exactly how to make that palatable. So I would put in a few grains of pomegranates, uh, and one carrot because it is good for my eye. I have this glaucoma problem, so in my eye, so carrot is supposed to be good. So other than that carrot and that what do you call pomegranate seeds, ripe pomegranate seeds, what should I say? Shall I call it seeds, or the fleshy part of pomegranate? That's what I mean. So with that would form a large quantity of my food. Uh, in spite of all that, as coming from India, you cannot say goodbye to grain. And one of the things I came to know was every kind of grain that we eat has got carbohydrates. So what the normal diabetes person does is he avoids all sugar, he doesn't take chocolates, he doesn't take anything that is sweet, has got sugar, but he is eating pasta, and he is eating naan, and he is taking rice. So all of these end up as sugar. And once you are doing the fast, and once you eat, and if you are just taking in all these carbohydrates, basically you are nullifying the fast. So I had to find ways in which I could reduce my grain. So as far as rice is concerned, I came to know that when you make rice, normally rice is made like this. You take a cup of rice, and then you take 1.5 cups of water, boil it, and rice is made. But before you do this boiling, put a tablespoon of coconut oil into that water and make the rice the normal way. Once the rice is made, cool it, put it in your fridge. After 12 hours or the next day, take it out, reheat it, and then have that rice. It appears that a large portion of the carbohydrates is now taken off that rice. So basically what you are really doing is, even I don't know, 30%, 40% of carbohydrates are removed. It becomes so much better for the diabetes person whose intake of carbohydrates has to be reduced. So this is one very marvelous way. There are some videos that support it, and I shall send it to you. Okay, so this is for the rice. Now for taking wheat, we take rotis or naan or whatever you call it. Indian diet consists of that. So to that, if you add jackfruit flour, jackfruit flour has got very low glycemic index. Really speaking, it's absolutely good for the diabetic person. So I buy 800 grams of jackfruit flour and mix it with 1 kg of wheat. Put another 100 to 150 grams of chickpeas flour, which you get in India by the name of what is it called? I'm forgetting anyway. So besan, it is called besan flour. It's basically chickpeas flour. Very good for health. So finally, when you make roti or naan out of it, 50% is wheat and another 50% is very low glycemic index flour. So overall, the quantity of carbohydrate that goes to your body is very limited. So this is all the magic formula that I followed, and within a period of 8 days, I had to bring down my insulin. What was 50 units, I brought it down to almost about 30-35 units, and Another 7 days were over, and then I brought it down to another 5 units. I brought it down. So much so, by the end of February, my sugar levels had come under control. Fantastic control, because I would not say my diabetes was gone, but anything less than 200 for me meant that I am not damaging my body parts. And because when you eat, your sugar level goes to about 200 and all, and then after 1.5 hours, it comes down. So for me, simple mathematics meant that if I keep my sugar levels under 180, whether it's fasting or whether you have eaten something, for me it was perfect. It's not going to damage my body as would when the sugar was around 300. So this is what I want to tell you. I have got some videos of Jason Fung and Eric Berg. You must have a look. And the best part of doing something like this is because it is a very natural thing. You can improvise. You know what exactly to do. Feel very hungry. You have some 2 or 3 almonds. That's what I do sometimes. I keep a box of almonds. So just 2 or 3. That tells your body that I've had something to eat, and you don't have to worry much about anything else. So it's very doable. Fasting is not starvation, according to these doctors. Fasting gives you more strength than what would happen if you're not fasting. Fasting does great healing to your body. That is what I have come to know. There's something called growth hormone is secreted once you fast beyond a certain time, and that repairs your body. It removes your toxicity, and it is supposed to, pull up, tighten your skin, make you look younger, etc., etc. I am 62 years old, and I feel really great and full of energy. So people who go on full fast for 3, 4, in the YouTube, you come across people who did 2 weeks fasting, and when you look at them, they are not looking as if they are about to die. They are full of energy and full of strength, and even the weight loss is not so much that you feel concerned about. People who are 50 plus have done this fasting, and YouTube is full of these experiences. But however, you're not well, you are under medication, you have certain organ problem, whatever serious medical problems are there, consult your doctor before you do these things. And some of these things you can do it progressively. Sort of, you don't have to do the full schedule. You start off, and then you see how your body reacts. How are you able to stop your hunger cravings? Again, there are videos which tell you that hunger cravings are just because you have not taken sufficient fat, and these are all debatable. Ultimately, you'll have to decide upon yourself what is good and what is bad for you. So I will just close my video and let you sort of be the judge on what I have said, and based on which whether it's really worthwhile if you would like to start this intermittent fasting and start that very tight diet that I told you about. I do take a little bit of non-veg. I grill my chicken and take 1 or 2 pieces, and it all depends on basically the amount of food you take, and match it with your calories. You roughly know how many calories are going into your body, so you will have to be the judge and decide whether it is good for you or not. So there's absolutely nothing that prevents you from letting you do what you want, okay? And you don't have to ask anybody, because you are the best judge in this. And I wish you all the best. Thank you. Bye bye.